Computer science faces a continuous challenge. Processing an incoming stream of data requires a system to track and update its current state dynamically over time. To manage this running state, developers rely on two standard algorithmic methods: totaling and counting. Totaling accumulates magnitude. It is the process of continuously adding variable, changing amounts to a single running metric. Counting tracks frequency. It tallies occurrences by adding a static, fixed amount, almost always 1, every time a specific event happens. While high-level programming languages offer different syntaxes to write these commands, both operations rely on the same universal bedrock logic. Without these standard algorithms, software cannot track elapsed time, calculate user scores, or manage inventory. They act as the operational foundation for managing dynamic metrics. The mechanical engine driving both totaling and counting is an operation known as self-referential assignment. Look at this memory diagram showing the conceptual formula for adding a mark to a total score. The system evaluates the calculation on the right and then pushes the new result into the memory box designated on the left. In algebra, an equal sign states that two sides are equivalent. In programming, it acts as a directional flow command, instructing the computer to overwrite existing memory. The right side of the statement represents the active calculation phase. The processor retrieves the current value of total mark and adds the new incoming data. The left side serves strictly as the designated storage destination. The newly calculated result lands here, replacing whatever value the variable previously held. To prevent any confusion with mathematical equivalents, Cambridge IGCSE pseudocode replaces the equal sign entirely. The operation is explicitly written as total score, a left-pointing assignment arrow, total score plus score. Counting logic relies on the same self-referential model, but with one structural adjustment. Instead of adding a variable, unpredictable amount, counting simplifies the evaluation phase by replacing the second variable with a constant integer, typically +1. Understanding this directional memory overwrite is the required first principle. The real utility emerges when we use computer loops to automate this process at scale. While the algorithmic intent of assignment is universal, programming languages have evolved to compress the syntax, prioritizing developer efficiency. This comparative grid displays the standard assignment syntax across Python, Visual Basic, C#, and Java. In the top row, all four use the explicit, long-form structure. To save keystrokes and reduce redundancy, compound assignment operators were introduced. The syntax condenses the operation down to a single += sign. C-based languages offer an even tighter compression, the increment operator, represented simply by two consecutive plus signs. Standard long-form assignment and the ++ increment operator are functionally identical. The standard assignment spells out the evaluation and storage phases manually, while the post-increment operator triggers that exact same sequence automatically. Regardless of how abstracted or condensed the syntax becomes on the screen, the underlying self-referential memory overwrite occurring at the processor level remains identical. Executing a totaling operation once yields little value. It is designed to be deployed iteratively within loops, allowing it to aggregate entire sets of data. Looking at this Cambridge pseudocode block for a totaling loop, we can track the execution alongside a structured trace table, monitoring the counter, the array input, and the total. The crucial first step occurs outside the loop: initialization. The total accumulator is explicitly assigned a value of 0. This initialization is a strict technical requirement. If a program attempts to aggregate data into an uninitialized variable, it absorbs arbitrary residual data left over in the system's memory, corrupting the final sum. Once initialized, the definite iteration cycle begins, guided by the for loop, which dictates the precise parameters of the run. During the first loop cycle, the extraction phase pulls an integer out of the input array and passes it into the active equation. The accumulation phase triggers next, absorbing the new value. The accumulator overwrites its previous state, and the trace table records the updated sum. If a program requires tracking a 10-question quiz, we define those exact parameters. The counter limits the loop from 1 to 10, and the operational line calculates total mark, pulling directly from current mark. An iterative totaling algorithm serves a singular purpose. It consumes a dispersed array of individual data points and sequentially compresses them into a single, unified metric of magnitude. We now transition to the counting algorithm, which moves away from tracking magnitude and focuses on measuring frequency. Blindly counting every single iteration of a loop has a severe limitation. It only reveals the total length of the dataset, which is rarely a useful standalone metric. To measure distinct events, counting algorithms rely on conditional logic. This pseudocode block sets up a new trace table to track our counter, the individual student mark, and a variable named passCount. The operative addition here is the conditional gate, an if statement verifying whether a student's mark exceeds 50. The evaluation of this condition dictates the flow of state mutation. If the loop pulls a mark of 40, the condition returns false. The code bypasses the assignment, leaving passCount untouched. However, when the iteration encounters a mark of 75, the condition evaluates as true. The state mutates, and the trace table shows passCount incrementing by exactly 1. A counter acts as an isolated tracking metric. Its distinct purpose is to monitor how many times a specific occurrence or designated event happens within a broader dataset. Applied to a real-world scenario, like tracking homework submissions, the if statement checks a specific homework submission flag. When true, the variable homework count adds 1 to itself. By wrapping an accumulator inside conditional logic, counting algorithms allow programmers to isolate, extract, and cleanly measure specific qualitative traits hidden inside massive, noisy datasets. Comparing both completed architectures side by side allows us to extract their shared pattern. Removing the variable names reveals the universal structure: initialization, a loop, an optional condition, accumulation, and loop termination. The primary operational distinction is focus. Totaling aggregates variable magnitude from a dataset, while counting tallies the frequency of static events. Both systems operate under 3 strict architectural requirements: zero initialization to prevent data corruption, loop iteration to process volume, and self-referential assignment to record state. Modern programming languages offer built-in wrapper functions, like .sum or .count in Python, that hide this logic from the user. Yet the actual hardware execution running beneath those wrappers follows this exact procedure. Mastering these standard methods provides the foundational architectural logic required to build and maintain any system reliant on complex data processing.